legitimately is. So if you go on the bottom, there's like
you have to like.
It's more like
the thing for me, right? The thing for me, we're gonna read his face on this. Is there were a few moments where his texts stopped for like 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, because I was working out.
Are you sure? Are you sure you didn't just go down to look at your Wi-Fi box, realize that you'd fell for it like an idiot?
I literally can't. The office is closed because Dad's not working. But can we just talk about how you tried to convince me by saying there's a speed dial switch? As if dial-up has existed.
No, but it wasn't about dial-up. What I was insinuating was that on the bottom of all different Wi-Fi routers, there's a button that speeds it up.
Yeah, no.
You gotta rub it really hard.
Yeah, and then a little genie comes out and grants you faster internet.
That's how it works.
Yeah, right, whatever. Gav, I sent you the link for the bracket challenge, so have a look at that as we intro the podcast here, because yes, I wanted to start with that.
Where's my bracket? Okay. I don't know where my bracket is. How do you get to the bracket?
Click did you
bracket
click
challenge? I got it.
Did you click the
Why do I have to sign into the bracket challenge? I already signed into the NHL.
I don't know. The NHL's website is useless, man.
Well, it doesn't have auto. Oh, that's why.
I'm sorry, what? It doesn't have auto con.
Auto.
Yeah, that has that.
Okay, wait. Can I invite Gavin to the league that we have here, or do I need Griffin to do that? I might need Griffin to do that. I'll figure it out.
Wait, hold on. Oh no, he just has to search "We Hate the NHL," I think, and then he might be able to just join.
That would be great.
Tell Griffin like change his stupid goal. Fucking
no, that's Danny. I guarantee you that's Danny who wrote Danny. 300. So Gavin, just to help you get through this, there's a bit at the end when you choose who's going to win the Stanley Cup, and as a tiebreaker, you have to pick how many goals are going to be scored in that 7-game series, the Stanley Cup final, right?
Okay, sorry, just give me 1 second, because no company in the world has been able to agree. There it is. What they list my country as, or what it's listed under on the drop down.
Oh yeah, because they'll say, oh, it's Great Britain or it's United Kingdom.
Yeah. Or there's some that for some unknown reason do like
England. They split them up.
But they do England, Ireland, and Wales. And then you're like,
where's Scotland?
But then you're like, okay, well, yeah.
Yeah, because they're not.
These brackets are now locked.
What? Oh, that's right, because the playoffs have already started. Oh, well. So, but look at it.
That was a giant waste of my time.
Well, no, we could still make you one.
Okay.
You've got no idea anyways. So you know what? I'll write it down. For you.
Atlanta Thrashers versus the Hartford Whalers.
Shut up, Sean.
Punch you in the face.
Welcome to Better Luck Next Week. We're trying to get Gavin to design a playoff bracket, as you can see, which we'll do in a little bit. But the NHL playoffs started, and Sean, we've been talking about this. This has been the best. Like after probably one of the worst seasons of watching hockey, because hockey has just progressively got worse and worse in the regular season. This has been some of the best playoff hockey in a long time.
I agree. Yep.
Right? Like
fantastic.
The games are fast. They're like
they're fast. They're hard hitting. There's tons of like the rivalries that have been created throughout this season with the divisions is fantastic. Like Florida Tampa, I don't even think you can beat that. But not only that though, but you see like Colorado, St. Louis, they're going nuts with each other. Pittsburgh and New York, they went a little crazy the other night too. And so it's just like nice to see. The only one that I haven't really heard much about is Carolina and Nashville, and I haven't I didn't watch the game.
Yeah, Carolina's been pretty dominant so far.
Right.
Because
so I figured that would be the case.
Yeah, I mean, like Nashville's not bad. Like they're still scoring goals and stuff.
Right.
But
is
Carolina's
it as like chippy
not
and as physical as the rest of these guys? Because that
maybe not quite as much. And Carolina's just pelting them with shots. Pecorino's not even playing. It was UC Saros versus what's his name, Alexei Nedeljkovic, I think his name is last night or 2 nights ago. Game 2's tonight, I'm pretty sure, for Carolina Nashville, which is probably another reason why you haven't heard much about it. I mean, we're already on to Game 3 between Washington and Boston.
Right, and then Game 1.
Yes, of Edmonton and Winnipeg.
Yes, we went totally opposite ways with that. That's fine.
But I love how we're talking over each other.
Yeah, completely. Me too. This is going really well.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Gav, take it away.
So,
Atlanta Thrashers versus Hartford Whalers. What do you think?
I am aware that both of those aren't teams.
They were
anymore.
Yeah.
I think that Sean's team is going to lose because he doesn't have a positive outlook. His chakra is all wrong. And
I mean, my team is already gone.
The moon is in the 3rd house at the moment, which means that the juju is bad. So that's going to be a problem.
That's good.
I love it.
Rooting for Toronto though, so don't say that my team is going to lose because right now in these playoffs,
yeah, we don't want that.
Toronto, and it's coming from a Red Wings fan, I think.
Okay.
Probably making a record here.
Did the Red Wings not make it?
No, they were trash.
Gav, why would they?
They actually ended up doing better than most other trash teams. They were
I want you to know that
they were like,
they're the least of the trashy. They were the least trash.
Yeah, they were the least trash of the trash teams.
Yeah, except I think Ottawa finished ahead. And then my buddy was like, "Oh, Ottawa finished ahead of Detroit. What's going on with that?" And I was like, "You have Tim Stützle. What do you mean?"
Stützle's unreal.
I think in the playoffs, this is actually where you discover what team's actually been built well. I think this is a point where you have to, because at the start of the season, all your players are healthy, all your players are ready to go. I don't think it matters as much. At the start of the season, you can beat teams, but at the moment, this is where teams show their depth, which is where teams show their star players, because over the course of a season and stuff like that, people can have bad games, people can have bad moments. But in it's a lot more condensed. It is win or go home. You have to really depend on some people, and I think it will show what teams are built well and have got the depth, and which teams, have just kind of had a few lucky games kind of thing. Who are the favourites?
Well, I would say the favorites right now would be Toronto, Pittsburgh or Boston.
Okay.
Colorado and Vegas, and then Carolina and Carolina really, because Florida Tampa could go either way.
Yeah, see, truly. On my bracket, I had Florida winning, but apparently they haven't won a playoff series since 1996, I think, is what was said.
Yeah.
And being down 2-0 going into the enemy territory, good luck.
It's
probably get swept by Tampa at this point.
I always struggle with that. They haven't won a playoff series since however long and all this kind of stuff. Because you said 1996, yeah?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit later than that, but because the Florida Panthers have only been around since 93.
Yeah, so either way, no one on that. You're talking about a completely different group of personnel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really think in modern sports that we can classify, they haven't won since that. Well, I guarantee you that every single person that plays on that team is different. I'm pretty sure the coaching staff are all different.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the management
is
the same, but
Yeah, no, 1996 was the only season that the Panthers have ever won a playoff series.
Wow. That is rough.
Great for them.
Just the closest they've ever come to winning the Stanley Cup when they lost.
That is why they have exactly 12 fans.
They were like, and we're done. Well, I mean, they're also in Florida, so.
I mean, that hurts because that doesn't even mean all of the players' wives are fans.
Exactly. So... No, I digress. They had about 5,000 people at the game,
which is their usual amount of fans anyway.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it really doesn't, COVID or not.
Yeah. They could have had the arena open all season and still had the same amount of fans. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it would have all fell within the COVID protocols.
Yeah. So and everything. All right, let's go. Let's focus on tonight, Gavin. What we're gonna do with you? Okay, we're gonna do the two Canadian series, and then we're gonna break down each of the series that have already started. We'll start with Edmonton, Winnipeg. Okay.
Okay. Gav, Simon says touch your nose. Good job. Okay.
The thing about this series is that the Winnipeg Jets have a Vezina caliber goaltender, Vezina defending goaltender. The Vezina Trophy is for the best goaltender in the league. In Connor Hellebuck. Pardon?
What are the two teams again?
Winnipeg and Edmonton. I'm writing it down for you, so you don't have to.
I had a pen.
Okay, I mean, if you want to. You're going to do it wrong because you have to set it up in a certain way.
I had a pen.
But so Edmonton, on the other hand, has Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
I've gone for Edmonton.
That's a good
pick. A good choice, which
good choice.
Sean, I want you to know I based it off of nothing.
Good.
How many games do you think Edmonton is going to beat Winnipeg in? The maximum is 7. The minimum is 4.
I'm going to go with 6.
Okay.
It's pretty safe.
So Edmonton in 6.
So wait, let me get this right. This is going to sound really stupid, but they play 7 games, right? And it's whoever wins the proportion of 7. So surely if they win 6 games, it's practically impossible for the other team to win the series.
Well, they only need to win
4 games.
Yeah, they only need to win 4 games.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first team to win 4 games in as many as 7 moves on.
Okay. All right. So they could, in theory, do 3, 1, and 3.
No. What?
No. So the maximum.
They could win 3 and then lose 1 and then win
the next one and they're on.
That would be your 5 games right there.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes
sense. If you want to do 6, it would be 3 and 2. Or it would have been 3 and 2, and then they would win the 4th.
It makes sense now. I was being a dumb. Okay, give me the next one.
So you've picked Edmonton. That's a pretty safe pick, to be honest. The Edmonton Oilers have been flying into the end of the season and into the postseason. Connor McDavid has been pretty much unstoppable. He hit over 100 points. I think it was 106 points in 56 games, which is absurd. Bless you.
And one of the reasons I thought they'd do really well is because I was like, well, all of the other teams have made their rink out of ice, and these guys have made it out of oil, so it'll be slippier. So they've got home field advantage.
Exactly, right. And it takes a lot more. To freeze oil.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And they're not distracted because Greenpeace won't be there.
And the ice will be black, so it'll be a lot more difficult to see the puck as an opponent. So makes sense. The series that starts tomorrow night, which is the series we're all looking forward to, despite the fact that it starts last, is Toronto and Montreal. The first time the Toronto Maple Leafs have played the Montreal Canadiens in the playoffs in 42 years. It's absurd to even think that it's been that long.
I'm going with Toronto because I have questions about the Canadiens' second line. I don't think they've got the depth. I don't think they're strong enough. and I question their goaltending.
You actually do make a lot of good points, despite the fact you're talking directly out of your ass.
Do you know what I did? I have a bracket thing down here on my phone, and a guy that's one of the critics has gone through and said that, and I just repeated it
really?
and hope you not notice.
Well, it's not bad because Montreal's depth it's actually not bad. They just have a bunch of really good second line players. They don't really have anybody who's like a top line guy. And on top of that, their coach, for some reason, has decided to sit all of their young talent for game one. Nick Suzuki, who's been unbelievable, like one of the top 5 rookies in the league this season, he will sit for game one, usually their second line center. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, who's usually their third line center, or, third line wing with Eric Stahl, is also going to sit. And then Alex Romanov, their young stud defenseman, is also going to sit for game one. And
by all means, please keep Corey Perry
in
the mix.
By all means, do that and sit.
He's gonna get wrecked the first game by Wayne Simmons anyway. Corey Perry's playoff run is gonna be over within the first game because Simmons is just gonna deck him because Perry's gonna be doing some dumb shit.
This is one of the things that confuses me.
Give him a little.
Don't you want your guys to get as much experience in difficult and high pressure scenarios as possible? There's a reason that every other circuit in the world at some point, like last week, the Formula One was at Portimao last weekend. That's where they do all the testing. So a lot of the drivers didn't mind giving up a test session to the test driver.
Right.
They're like, we know this place, we're fine. But I can guarantee you every single one of them is taking up as much time as possible at Monaco. Because
exactly.
You want them to get the experience in it. You want them to spend the time there.
Yeah, I mean, especially when your team, they're not making it past the first round because you're playing one of the most stacked teams in the NHL with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm sorry, but there's going to be no way. I see no Montreal wins this series.
Also, if you were going to... After a player's been in the league a few years, you know what their kind of top level is. I think all players can rise above and elevate themselves in a playoff situation.
Right.
But if you wanted to go into the playoffs and potentially ruin the Toronto Maple Leafs' day, the best thing you can do is present them with guys they don't have much film on and they haven't played a lot. If you go, here's their goalie that you've played for 5 years. We know he's weak bottom left corner because he's been in the league for 5 years and we've got thousands of shots on him, so we know where his weak points are. Compared to a kid where we go, we've watched him play a few times, he could be really good. We don't know. Because then, as a person preparing to go up against him as another centre, you don't know what he's doing. You're like, well...
And that's the great thing about...
my game plan and see how he changes.
And that's the great thing about Nick Suzuki, is that they've got such little game film on him other than basically the 10 games that the Leafs played against them in the regular season. And he's fast. He's so fast. Like, you want to beat a skilled team, you face them with more skill, right? I really dislike this mantra of, let's beat them up. Well, all the Habs are doing is putting in guys who are big and slow, and the Leafs are going to skate around them, as we've seen in the 7 wins that the Leafs have this regular season over the Habs. It doesn't matter, in my opinion, if Carey Price is in net or not. Carey Price, who, by the way, has been injured for a good month, I think, and played in the AHL Cup last night or 2 nights ago, and was
when Gallagher got wrecked.
Terrible, by the way. And Frederick Anderson is the same. I will say that. Frederick Anderson for the Maple Leafs did the same thing, played in the AHL in a conditioning stint, and was bad. But
so what you're telling me is that Toronto are going in with, okay, weak goaltending, fine, we can live with that. But a team that is dependent on speed, fast, moving about, moving it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And even though in the 7 games they've tried, they've lost because they've tried the let's beat them up tactic. You got to try the same thing again?
Yeah, basically what's going to happen is the Montreal Canadiens are going to try to Columbus the shit out of the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is what
Oh,
happened.
you've
in
got
It's not
the
gonna work.
play-
Have they looked at Austin Matthews? The guy's a tank. He's a tank. He's like Connor McDavid. Like these top guys now, they're not like Wayne Gretzky. They're not like skinny noodles walking around getting protected by everybody. They're genuine tanks.
Yeah.
That have like a V12 in them where they just go.
This is the thing: is that no longer,
It's insane.
no longer are these small guys the fast guys. Like this is all over sports as well. If you look at DK Metcalf in the in the NFL, he's a wide receiver. The guy look like when he stands next to Aaron Donald, who's a defensive lineman, they look about the same size. So these guys are now going, not only are we fast, but we're big. So your solution to dealing with a bunch of fast guys is to throw in weak goaltending and a bunch of guys that aren't going to be able to keep up with them.
Yeah.
That's playing into their hand, surely. It's going.
The only weak point in this entire series is going to be the Leafs power play unit, and that's what I'm looking at right now, and I'm just kind of confused at what they're doing. Like, they put Joe Thornton as the first power play center, is what I see.
Well, that's a change, actually, because that's
I know, and then they have Johnny T on the second with Wayne and Jason on the wings.
Which
and
I
then they
still
got
don't
Nylander
understand
Riley,
why.
which is
Why is Nick Foligno not on the power play? What did you get him for?
That's what I've been saying.
Why is Zach Hyman's going to be back in game one? Why is he not on the power play? Why is the retirement home?
He's on power play one.
Good.
Power play one.
I don't understand why we have the retirement home on the power play still.
Man, instead of Wayne Simmons on your second power play wing, put Nick Foligno there, man. Why do you have Wayne Simmons on the power play, dude?
Why do we have Joe Thornton on the power play?
Yeah, man. Like, literally put people on the power play.
41-year-old Joe Thornton is on the power
scorers and operate under pressure. What are you doing?
Yeah. So that's going to have to be remedied basically immediately. Like, if the Leafs don't score a power play goal in game one, there's going to be problems.
Like, because the way this is set out, it says Joe Thornton's the first power play center. I don't think that's the case, though. You would have Matthews as center, right? Put Thornton on the wing.
Well, no, because you want Matthews, in the boom boom slot, like how Ovechkin does.
Joe Thornton. Oh boy.
The thing is, like, he's good at faceoffs. I get that. Okay, you know who else is good at faceoffs?
How many faceoffs he take?
Yeah, like 7.
That's what I mean. Like why not? Like, at least Spezza's a centerman. At least Nash is a centerman.
Right.
Foligno's a winger who's actually good. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying Wayne Simmons isn't good, but he's not Nick Foligno. And Nick Foligno also He's also an intimidating guy. Like, he fights. He's physical. Uh-huh. He can literally keep the puck in the zone the same way Wayne Simmons would, and without taking penalties or getting into massive scraps.
Right. It's another reason why they got him. Anyways. Let's move on. Gavin, you have to pick how many games Toronto's going to beat Montreal in.
Minimum?
Minimum is 4.
2.
4.
All right. You think Toronto's going to sweep Montreal?
I just...
You brave soul.
I honestly think that if you're turning around to Toronto and there are a bunch of fast guys and you've got a goaltender who's not playing well, I value Toronto's ability to speed past a bunch of fat old guys and ping it into the back of the net over those bunch of guys' ability to... Because, you'll probably hit some guys and you'll probably, the physical game does work to an extent. But I don't think Toronto would have got this far if they weren't a partially physical team.
Right. And they've only got more physical, and they are going to get more physical because Zach Bogosian is likely going to draw back into the lineup at some point, whether that's game one or later on in the series. But that's a physical defenseman who's going to play on the third pair, who's going to rough people up a little bit. You've got Nick Foligno, you've got Wayne Simmons, Zach Hyman's coming back, who's a feisty player. So there's feistiness on every line, right? Ilya Mikheyev, feisty. Riley Nash is going to be feisty. And the Leafs went out and directly got players who maybe not necessarily are Stanley Cup winners, but they got players who beat them in the playoffs. Riley Nash beat them twice, once with Boston, once with Columbus last year in the playoffs. Nick Foligno with Columbus beat them last year in the playoffs. And then they've got veteran leadership, and Zach Bogosian is a Stanley Cup champion. That
you do need someone that's been there and done it.
Exactly.
Someone that is able to sit in those situations and go, this is how we did it before. This is how we're going to do it this time. This is what works. This is what doesn't work.
So let's stay in the East. We'll do the East Division, Pittsburgh and New York. The current, actually, you know what? I'm not going to tell you who's currently up in that series or not. But we've played 2 games so far in that series. Pittsburgh is the higher seed. Pittsburgh finished first in the division. New York finished 4th. And
I'm going with Pittsburgh.
Yeah. It's a pretty good bet. Pittsburgh has Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Jake Gensel.
Malkin's been out though.
He has been out. I actually don't think he's playing, but regardless, I mean, you have Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, why is he out?
I think I believe he had a major injury, right?
Nice.
I think.
Yeah,
how many games?
Pittsburgh. Let's go with 5.
5, okay. Only 1 game for New York. The thing about this series is that Pittsburgh has had a hard time against New York in the regular season. I think there were only
Yeah, I know, but I'm using geology,
right?
And I feel that if a team from one place, if the NFL team's doing poorly, then the NHL team will also do poorly. So no good NFL team has come out of New York for a while. So I feel that.
Also, the Jets are more associated with the Islanders, whereas the Giants are more associated with the Rangers, I think.
The same stadium.
Well, I'm just saying that the equivalency. The equivalency in New York, right? The New York Rangers are more associated with the New York Giants, and then the New York Jets are more associated with the New York Islanders, I think, right?
Because there's the Hartford Whalers,
an A team and a B team.
Who are they associated with, Gav?
Yeah. Carolina Hurricanes. So then we have Washington and Boston. Now, Washington is technically the higher seed. Washington finished 2nd. Boston finished 3rd. But a lot of people are picking Boston because... Pardon?
I just have.
Oh. Yeah, we don't like that. But
Anyway.
You're so dramatic.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that.
The thing about Boston is
disgusting pile of UK garbage.
They did add Taylor Hall.
Rubbish.
All right. Would you calm down?
Okay, you can't pick Boston, man. Come on.
Yeah, so many people. I'm the only one in our, and you, Sean, but it's you.
We're doing to the French at the moment too. You all right?
What? Sorry.
Have you guys not heard about this?
What?
So the Faroe Islands and the Channel Islands and all the islands that are between the UK and France, which we say are our sovereign waters because Royal Britannia, they have started to block our fishing boats with their own fishing boats. So the French.
I'd be like, hey, guys, remember World War II? You remember that? You remember when we say, yeah, how would you let us fish?
Yeah.
Do you remember most other global conquest wars in the 17 and 1800s where the Brits just curb stomped the French?
Waves.
Yeah.
Basically, the way we equate it is if the water touches England, it's ours.
Oh, so that's
all of the ocean.
Yeah.
So basically,
ridiculous.
The tensions were getting quite high. So in response to a bunch of fishermen crashing more fishing boats into each other, the UK has sent 3 destroyers.
Oh my god.
I mean, fair enough. I'd be like, listen, guys, that's enough.
Not even old ones. 3 brand new destroyers. Just
Right, lads.
Fishermen are going to be like, oh, God.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've picked Boston, despite the fact that
Boston.
Washington has Alexander Ovechkin and Nick Backstrom and Evgeny Kuznetsov and TJ Oshie and so many good players.
Keep talking. I'm not changing my pick.
How many games?
I mean, they also have Zdeno Chara.
Yeah, he plays on the third pair.
It's going to be a tight one. I think it's going to be 7.
I went for 7 as well when I picked Washington in this one. I think this one's going to be the tightest series. Okay, now we go to the Central Division, where we have. So the Carolina Hurricanes finished first, and the Nashville Predators finished 4th.
The Discover Central Division.
What were the 2 teams?
The Carolina Hurricanes and the Nashville Predators.
I'm going with the Hurricanes because I can't
Hartford.
Their name is the Predators.
Well, their logo's a saber-toothed tiger, though. It's a predator.
No,
yeah,
it's a Catholic
the word
Whoa!
predator.
Said no, it's a Catholic priest. Terrible.
As in to catch a predator.
Yes, we know.
It's just Chris Hansen's their fucking mascot.
Chris Hansen's face.
And he just walks into the arena. He goes,
like,
hello.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. So what were you trying to do tonight? It's like, listen, Chris, I was just watching a hockey game. Yeah?
How
Who's
many games?
My daughter, Chris.
I'm going to go 5.
5. Yeah, that's a pretty safe pick. Nashville is probably the second worst team in these playoffs. I would say Montreal is the worst team in these playoffs. Montreal would absolutely not have made the playoffs in a regular season.
I think their PR and marketing team are the worst in the NHL. Predators. Like the Las Vegas Kings, I'm like...
Okay. Los Angeles Kings.
Los Angeles, yeah.
What's the one from...
The Vegas Golden Knights.
Golden Knights, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hot garbage, but cool.
Oh. All right, relax. Vegas is the most exciting franchise in the NHL because they actually have like character and personality and do things at the arena instead of just going, welcome everyone to the hockey game. Please watch. And that's it.
I mean, I can get that. Just the connotation of having an ice hockey team in the middle of the feckin' desert.
Yeah, get angry about Arizona. Get angry about the Arizona Coyotes. Then, if that's what you're gonna get upset about.
We've had this argument.
Yes, we have.
Florida Tampa.
So yes, the next one is Florida, the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's the battle of the state of Florida, which is pretty cool. It would never happen before in the entire history of both teams, which blows my mind because the NHL is so set on creating rivalries with this divisional playoff format that how would you not have the two teams in the same state face off in the playoffs? Anyway,
I have gone with the Tom Brady trickle down banging, which is that anything within range of Tom Brady just does better. So because Tom Brady is now in Tampa now are going to do better.
See, the Tampa Bay Lightning already won the Stanley Cup. They are actually the defending Stanley Cup champions.
And now,
so
they Tom Brady is now there in that area. He may have driven past the stadium at some point. That's going to be the deciding factor.
This is terrible.
And Tom Brady won because they won.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tom Brady won.
There was a trickle-down effect from the Lightning.
Because the Lightning won first, and then the Buccaneers won. And that's the thing, is that when a city wins stuff, it seems like all their other teams win stuff, except for Toronto, because Toronto sucks. Because when the Raptors won their championship, the Blue Jays were trash, and the Leafs got knocked out in the first round again. So... it just doesn't happen in everywhere, but it happened in Tampa Bay. Anyways, so you've gone for Tampa Bay. How many games?
Sick, man.
I think it's going to be another close one. I'm going to go for 7 again.
All right. 7.
I have 7 too.
Unfortunately, Tampa Bay is already up 2-0 in that series.
I feel like it's going to be like a 5-game series.
Yeah, I feel bad for Florida.
Like they're going to go back to Florida and they're going to lose.
They have a good team. It's stupid.
I know. Anyway. I actually picked Florida to win in my bracket. I picked them in 7 because regardless of like where you are, like
I picked Florida in 6.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild.
They're pretty wild.
Vegas is the higher seed. They finished 2nd in the West Division, and Minnesota is 3rd.
I've gone for Minnesota.
Interesting.
In 7.
Based off of absolutely nothing, except he doesn't like Golden Knights. He just doesn't like the name.
No, he doesn't like the fact that a team is in the desert, even though there's 2 teams in the desert, and one is very, very much superior to the other.
Oh, I would have watched the game yesterday before making that decision. Oh boy.
Yeah, Marc-Andre Fleury is sick.
Man.
It isn't about making informed decisions for me.
That is true. And the final series, Colorado versus the Colorado Avalanche versus the St. Louis Blues.
This is the easiest one. Go ahead. Colorado's 1st, St. Louis is 4th. Nathan McKinnon versus fucking
Ryan O'Reilly.
It's whatever.
I've gone for Colorado. I'm not a fan of the name, the Avalanche, because I'm like, well,
they have a lot of them in Denver because they're surrounded by mountains.
I think you could have come up with a better name. I think.
I mean, it's
man, they got one of the best logos in like the NHL.
It's a formidable. It's a formidable thing too. I mean, avalanches, they're scary.
Plus the A makes the mountain in the logo.
And then there's
the puck coming around with snow.
Cool.
It's like an avalanche, so it's really cool.
How many games?
4.
A sweep. All right. St. Louis is not great. So this one I could see being a sweep. I don't think I have a sweep at all, but yeah.
I had a sweep. And it's just stupid.
So we'll do the rest of we'll continue this bracket as we'll continue Gav's bracket as we move throughout the playoffs, I think. But that is set in stone as of right now.
Oh.
And so we'll just go through it. Pittsburgh and New York are tied at 1. Pittsburgh absolutely dominated game 2. After losing in overtime in game 1. And the Islanders did something weird because they won the game with Ilya Sorokin. And then in game 2, they decided to start Semyon Varlamov, who lost. So they have a bit of an interesting predicament now, the Islanders, because they're going back to New York for game 3. But they have a goaltender. They have 2 goaltenders. Varlamov was injured, but is normally their starter. Sorokin is younger, is the backup. But he won a game, and Varlamov lost a game. And they played better in front of Sorokin than Varlamov. So for me, I don't know what they do.
What's Sorokin's like playoff experience?
Very little, because he's young.
I feel like that's why they played better in front of him. I feel like they just as soon as you have an experienced goalie that's in net that you're comfortable with, you tend to just kind of lean back a little bit. Not great.
You kind of
see it a lot.
You're like, oh, he'll sort it out.
And they leaned back a lot, and it did not work out because Varlamov,
by all means, please put him back in net.
Right. Varlamov let a floater in by Brian Rust from the near point. He just kind of spun and threw it on net, and it was a perfectly flat disc straight into the net, but it was like, wow, you need to save on that one. So I worry for New York. I think I picked Pittsburgh in 5 as well. If I just look at my bracket, I did pick picked Pittsburgh in 6. So I gave the Islanders 2. So the Islanders can win another game, and then Pittsburgh will take over.
Did you? What did I do? I got Pittsburgh in 5.
Yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense too. Washington and Boston. This series is also tied. Washington won the first game in overtime. Boston won the second game in overtime. And, Boston was down. They came back and won it in overtime. Washington was down. They came back, won it in overtime. And I mean, these are two teams. I think these two teams are going to go back and forth. So I picked 7. I just think Washington is a more complete team. Yes, Boston has Taylor Hall on their second line now. But other than the goal to tie the game, he's not been very impressive.
Yeah. A lot of people, well, specifically my parents, were going off about the scrum in front of the net that led to the tying goal.
Right.
With Boston, Washington. I don't know how you feel about that. They said the puck was covered. He should have blown it, but he didn't blow it because it came loose. But meanwhile, in the Boston end, when Rask barely even had a glove on it, blew it down right away. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know for sure, but I didn't really have an issue with the whole scrum in front of the net because there was a lot of pushing on the goalie from Washington, and it was just all around just a shit show. And then the puck was loose. Right. But I mean, there's got to be consistency in how long you are waiting to blow the play down.
Yeah.
So if that's the argument there, then yeah, definitely make the consistent calls, which you don't even know what that is, NHL.
Right. There's none of that. I'm a little more on your side. I don't really remember the situations that your parents are referring to where the Bruins had much quicker whistles than Washington. But what I will say is that Charlie McAvoy does kind of go into Craig Anderson, and then a Washington player, I forget who it was, a Washington player follows, and they both kind of land on Craig Anderson-ish and come off him as the puck comes loose to Taylor Hall. Most NHL analysts, including Elliot Friedman, did say that they didn't really think it warranted a challenge. Honestly, I might have, because the NHL is so inconsistent with what is and isn't goaltender interference.
Right.
Charlie McAvoy is not pushed into Craig Anderson. Craig Anderson is already down.
So
then, but you could maybe argue that McAvoy was guided into Craig Anderson. You could argue that he tried to avoid Craig Anderson. You could argue that because Craig Anderson was already down, there wasn't any opportunity for him to get back up because then he suddenly had 2 players on him. So it would honestly just be whatever judgment the NHL decided to make. And then if they don't overturn the call, you have a 2-minute penalty for delay of games late in the game.
Yeah. So
Boston already had momentum. So yeah.
I did just see the what they were talking about in the highlights with Tuukka Rask, and Rask has it for maybe 2 milliseconds and it pops out and the ref's already blown it. He went behind the net and he can't see the puck.
Oh, I do actually remember that, where the puck was still loose.
Yeah, and now with Washington, the same thing happened. They didn't blow it down at all, and then that's when Washington or Boston scored, which I can understand being a piss off. I get that. Point. It's got to be consistent, but again, I don't know. I don't really have any issues. But Marchand, his awesome little fun stuff that he likes to do. God, this guy's. And then he scores. Yeah. Of course, he scores the game-winning goal. How garbage is that?
Well, he took 2 penalties in that game, I believe, as well. So
stupid, man.
Right?
Punch a guy in the nuts, dude. Imagine getting up and punching a guy in the groin. What's wrong with you?
So that's
pretty much the face he makes all the time.
Yeah, that's that series in a nutshell. Florida, Tampa. I mean, Florida's been there, but they just haven't been able to put it in the back of the net. And it's been unfortunate because Tampa's just been better. Now, you can argue that, oh, Tampa sat Kucherov for the entire season and suddenly they're amazing again because Kucherov's back in the lineup and Steven Stamkos is fully healthy. And, so now they're unbelievable. And, but every team is doing cap finagling. So, I mean, if you're not cheating, you're not winning. And if everyone's cheating, then no one's cheating. So
is it cheating if it's like well within loopholes? Like, I mean,
well, exactly, and everybody's doing it. Every single team in the NHL.
Part of the game, then.
Exactly.
It's not cheating. It's just a part of the game. Yeah.
Right in the rules, it's cheating. But anyways.
Well, yeah, but what does the NHL care about rules anymore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm sad for Florida, but it kind of looks like Tampa's going to win this series at this point.
So sad for like Barkov, Huberdeau, Ekblad.
Yeah. Well, Ekblad's not in it, which, I think would have been. Well, yeah, he broke his entire leg, remember? You didn't see that?
No.
Oh, yeah, he completely tore his ACL.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it was awful.
I might have seen it, just forgot.
Yeah, in the corner, he kind of fell straight back and just folded his knee.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
Literally like a piece of paper, just completely in half. And you're like, ooh, knees are not meant to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think having Aaron Ekblad, because he was having the best season of his career, that would have been an absolute difference maker. I mean, it would be like Tampa Bay not having Victor Hedman, right? No, they're not the same player, but it's the equivalency of the best defenseman on your team.
Yeah.
Minnesota, Colorado. This one's actually going to be Minnesota, Vegas. That's actually going to be a very interesting series because Vegas is very good. They played without Pacioretty last night and needed Fleury to make some big saves again. They are relying on him. So
too much.
A little bit too much, right? So,
oh my God.
And the thing is that if Fleury is relied on too much, sometimes he falters. And so they need to get a bit more shots on the Minnesota Wild. But what Vegas is doing a good job of is keeping Kirill Kaprizov silent. And if they keep doing that, then I think they'll probably keep winning.
Are we excited for the Canucks Flames? Oh my gosh, that series is so sick.
I think that's finally done now because the last game was last night.
Tonight.
They play again?
Yeah. I think tonight's the last game. That's why they're starting the playoffs tonight instead of when they did, because I think they want the divisional stuff to be like.
I don't understand. Why did you not just start the playoffs at the same time? Like the Canadian division.
I just think they don't want to set like a precedent where like
it has
where you have like a division that's in the playoffs and then you just have like these guys like finishing stuff. I kind of get it. Like just finish off the regular season in the division, make it like, actually playoff time and then go in.
But then start everyone at the same time. Like why now Toronto, Montreal, Edmonton, and Winnipeg have had like 4 days off extra.
They should be better games though, because now you have super well-rested guys who are just like in playoff mode, ready to go.
Well, this is what I am.
Been studying a ton of video, doing a ton of practice, ton of training.
What I am worried about.
Imagine it being such a fantastic series.
What I am worried about is that the Canadian division, the series aren't going to be the same because they don't have any fans.
Right, you were saying that
division has fans now.
Right. I don't know. Like,
I hope not. I feel that that's not going to be the case, but it's just a small worry that I have.
That's completely fair. I completely understand that. Because it's definitely not the same when you have sound getting pumped in.
Right. And you play differently in front of people,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you have that energy in the building.
Yeah.
But hopefully they're past that. Like I really do hope they're past that, especially with the way the season's gone. And the Battle of Alberta has been pretty sick.
Battle of Ontario has been pretty good too.
Pretty great games. Yeah, I think they really keep the energy up between the teams, and like you do have cameras there. You got people. You know people are watching. Millions of people are watching, and like it is super important. These games.
Colorado.
I just can't believe 10:30 at night, Blues and Avalanche. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's well, but hey, we're up.
Yeah, that's almost time for you to wake up over.
Yeah, exactly.
3:30 a.m.
We're awake anyways, though. So
yeah, that's the strange thing about my life is that normally I will message you guys in the morning.
Yeah, at 5:30 in the morning when you wake up because you're a lunatic.
Well, because I'm employed.
Must be nice, man.
Job.
Yeah, I got 5. Can't work any. You want to throw some money my way?
No.
Colorado, St. Louis. I don't think there's much to say about this one. Colorado's 6. St. Louis is.
Dude, Nathan McKinnon, 3 points in the first game.
Yeah, Nathan McKinnon's unreal.
2 goals. My God, Landeskog 2 assists. Like, I can't even. This was stupid, man.
And a fight. Landeskog fought Braden Shen.
Yeah, which was fantastic. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And these are 2 guys who are like really good hockey players too. They're not there to fight. Right. They're really not. But man, the fact that these guys are all sticking up for each other, like I want to see Matthews just absolutely wreck somebody. Let's go. Drop him in a fight. Nice. Just McDavid, stay away from fighting because you'll probably punch the glass and break your hand again.
Matthews just bulldozes Brendan Gallagher or something.
No.
Yeah, is Gallagher going to be okay? Like, is he going to play at all? Because I feel like that whole AHL situation was just like...
Oh, I know. So
kudos to whoever wrecked him.
That was Timothy Liljegren, a guy who's not even known to hit people.
So good, though.
Timothy Liljegren is about my size.
It was like a reverse hit, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Timothy Liljegren had the puck in the neutral zone. Brendan Gallagher, who's about 5'8", so Kyle's size, 5'9" maybe. Skates over to him and tries to hit him, and Liljegren just goes, no. And Gallagher just bounces off him like a beach ball and just like yard sail.
Oh yeah, just vertical to horizontal in 2 seconds.
It was really funny. Carolina, Nashville, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, Carolina. I don't need to say anything about this. Yeah, I feel like Carolina's just gonna destroy Nashville.
Probably.
Like I actually have them in 5. Oh, I put them in 6. I don't know why. Definitely not going to go. I
have them. Oh, I have them in 6 as well. Wow, we're so generous.
Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, yeah, I was so generous, and then I go to Washington, Boston, and I was like, Washington will sweep.
I had Colorado in 6.
Just because I didn't think Boston had like really the depth anymore. They got rid of so many guys.
I want to redo my bracket already. I have Colorado in 6, Vegas in 7.
I got Vegas in 5.
I think Vegas in 7 is actually viable because Minnesota is really good. But like Florida in 7, okay, we'll see. Carolina in 6.
I did that too. Yeah.
Carolina in 6.
Brackets are like the same.
Pittsburgh in 6. Like, okay. Washington in 7, I think makes sense because I think that series is going to go back and forth. And then Toronto.
That's the one I'm really regretting right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's going to be rough for you. Anyway,
I only have Washington 4. As long as Washington wins, I don't care.
We'll carry on with some news and notes before we get into the F1 and the wrap up. But the PWHPA had their St. Louis showcase this past weekend, Sunday and Monday. It unfortunately wasn't televised as it was supposed to be because they had to postpone it and everything. And I don't know. I think it's a bit unfortunate that they just couldn't like keep the broadcast deal because I mean they played in the St. Louis Blues NHL arena on Monday night, but it wasn't broadcast on national television. I think is really dumb. Also, the commentator was terrible. I try not to comment publicly. If I don't like a commentator, I try to be positive, but this guy was mispronouncing names, slurring his words, like he couldn't enunciate properly, and was like just not not describing the game. He's like doing an ad read during play, and like it was a disaster. And I'm like, I feel bad for the PWHPA because they cannot, for whatever reason, get consistent commentating. It's like they go from, Kenny Albert with NBC to some radio guy who's a local person that most people haven't heard of. And, you know, and I mean, I don't know. You just want consistency, right? And I mean, the World Championships are going to be called by Rod Black, who's not traditionally a hockey commentator, but he does women's hockey for some reason. You know, and it's like, well, why? Why can't we get Chris Cuthbert or Bob Cole or or Jim Houston? Like, why can't we get the big name guys to do this stuff? So, you know, it was a successful tournament. The games were very good, but it's hard to watch a game when when the broadcast is so noticeably bad, right? Because we're all used to the top quality of the big four. And then when it's not at the same level, and this is exactly what they're fighting for. It's all part of the whole equal opportunity thing, equal ability, equal access to quality broadcasting. And when it's not there, it ultimately hurts the product. And so, you know, it's really great that Sportsnet is going to be broadcasting the next one that's coming up next week. It starts next Monday. It's a whole Canadian tournament, 3 Canadian teams, Calgary, Toronto, and Montreal. Calgary is, I think, their team Scotiabank. Toronto is team Sonnet, which is an insurance company. And then Montreal is team something or other. So they're going to play a tournament-like series. It's going to be awesome. Each team plays each other twice. And then they have a championship game based on the standings at the end of the 6 games that will run there will be a game each night during the week. So Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, so on. It'll run right through till Sunday with the championship. And you can see all your favorite Canadian female hockey players in the tournament on Sportsnet and Sportsnet now.
I had news.
That'll be great.
News. I have news.
Yes.
Nudes?
No, so it's just this week, Porsche and Audi have announced their commitment to World Endurance Championship. They are going to be doing a deal and collaboration with Penske, which is a race team in America. So they are going to be doing both IMSA and World Endurance. So everything collaborated. So this is kind of erring back to what I'm wanting, which is at the moment you have a IMSA, which is the American and North America and that area, their rules for top level endurance racing, and then Europe and that have a different set of rules. We've now agreed on at a top level, we have one set of rules. Yeah, so at the very top level, we now have one set of rules, which means for the first time in however many years, it is possible to win the Triple Crown, which would be Daytona and Le Mans. Obviously, you have to win Monaco as well. They're not letting endurance cars go there. But it shows that over the time of lockdown and stuff like that, all these groups of people have gone, oh, we need to figure this out. We're still waiting on everyone to agree GT3 rules, because this year, of all of the GT3 cars that are available across the world, so McLaren, Merc, everything, the only 2 that are competing at Le Mans, which in my opinion is the epitome of endurance racing, is Porsche, Ferrari, and Corvette. And even Corvette was a last-minute deal. So of all the manufacturers, which is pretty much every sports car manufacturer that develops a GT3 car, to only have 3 of them represented at Le Mans is a little bit like Aston Martin have got a GT3 car. They're not taking that to Le Mans. McLaren have got a GT3 car. That's not at Le Mans. You know, Mercedes not at Le Mans. All of these teams that develop GT3 cars to a high level, not at Le Mans, because Le Mans rules are ever so slightly different than the rest of the world, which is a little bit starting to become confusing. Why we have one set of rules for one thing and one set of rules for everything else, but that's fine. So it's everything's going in the right direction. But the fact that Porsche and Audi are going to come back in kind of a collaborative deal, I see it very quickly divulging, because the problem is they're both owned by VW Group, but Porsche have got the most wins at Le Mans and were always very competitive with Audi. So I feel it very soon that splitting and those two becoming competitive. But I want those guys to be competitive. I want it to be good. I think the other thing was that we had GT2 World Challenge this last weekend. There was 8 cars. A little bit confusing. Everyone else in the world has decided that GT3 is the class at the moment. Everyone's developing GT3 cars, and for some unknown reason, Audi have gone, we're going to make a GT2 car. So, yeah, okay. And also, I think something we should, because we've been following on this podcast, Romain Grosjean got his first podium, so second at his IndyCar race. He was in first, but there was a bit of a strange thing with pit stops and stuff like that. But he qualified on pole and finished in second, which I think in his third race in the series, he's very good.
Yeah, man. It's good
well done, mate.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Could have been first though. But...
Yes, but yeah.
I'm kidding.
Third race in the series.
Speaking of Grosjean, I think that leads nicely into the Spanish Grand Prix, because Grosjean is also test driving for Mercedes.
Yeah, he's not doing that yet.
As well. He will be. So the Spanish Grand Prix was last weekend. We didn't get to pick winners and losers because we didn't have our usual Friday recording. That's why we're here today on Wednesday. But I don't really think we missed a whole lot.
Basically what happened was that it was a repeat of Hungary, where Max Verstappen was in a situation where Mercedes could go either way. So they could either go for the 2-stop and hunt him down, or they could go for a single stop and him not be able to last. And because Sergio Perez wasn't close enough, they had to try and send Max Verstappen long on his tyres, at which point Lewis Hamilton hunted him down and overtook him.
Yeah.
And not much else. Valtteri Bottas, a lot of people say that he didn't want to let Lewis pass. With the best win in the world, Lewis was gaining on him with soft tyres. Valtteri was on the hard. He gained on him very, very quickly over a portion of a couple of laps. And then he got the radio message, and 3 corners later, Lewis Hamilton was past him. So it's a little bit like... This one is always a difficult race at Catalonia because it's where they do the most testing. They test here every year. So they know so much about it that when they go in, they're like, well, we know this.
Right.
So it's not as exciting. Not really much else happened there, if I'm honest. Going down the order, it was Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz, Lando, Esteban Ocon, Pierre, Lance Stroll, Kimi, Sebastian George, Antonio Giovinazzi, Nicholas Latifi, Fernando Alonso in 17th. And then Mick Schumacher, Nikita Mazepin, and then Yuki Tsunoda didn't finish.
He's having a hard time as young Tsunoda.
I think he's just had in a couple of bad races.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of them. The next Grand Prix, which is somewhere we haven't been in a long while, which is going to be an interesting one, it is Monaco. Now, I have some concerns about Monaco. Early reports coming out of Monaco was that normally what happens is that because they try and get as many races in before Monaco as they can and try and leave the circuits as rubbered in, but after the last Grand Prix, they completely re-asphalted. They completely redid the circuit, so it's almost a new surface. They've looked after it well. But apart from the Monaco historique, and the Formula E, no one has really been there. So it's going to be very slippery. It's also, I think Monaco could either be brilliant this year or it's going to be Monaco. I love Monaco as a circuit because the drivers love it. But if we look at some of the, I'm not going to name drivers' names, but you had, over a, call it 3.5 to 4 mile circuit last week, you're now going to a circuit that is 1.5 miles, 2 miles if you push it. And we have drivers that were, from 8th down, were already a lap down, and then some were 2 laps down. We're going to have the possibility of drivers being lapped 3, 4, 5 times.
Well, and it's just overly not very interesting because there's not really any overtaking, and the drivers talk about it all the time. But we can break that down a little bit more next show.
Yep.
Since that'll be more the preview. There's a couple of bits of news though that we can discuss. Is that of course Lando Norris has signed a multi-year extension with McLaren, which I mean,
nice.
makes sense.
It does. I mean, for McLaren, Lando Norris is he's your social media star. I mean, he is effectively what you want a Formula One driver of the future to be. He's into the esports. He's online. He's constantly engaging with fans. He's likable. He doesn't say anything silly. He's got a personality, but people like him. I think he makes life easy for the social media team. He's also quick.
Yeah, he's a good driver. He's a good people person. He's a good person. It's a no-brainer for me. Yeah. He's got a big fan base and people love him. So why not? Aston Martin has appointed W Series racer and James Bond movie stunt driver Jessica Hawkins as their driver ambassador. So Hawkins is going to compete in this year's W Series, the International Formula 3 Championship for female drivers, which is scheduled to run in support of 8 F1 Grand Prix this year. Yep. And she has also worked, so she was the stunt driver on No Time to Die, which we still have yet to see, but one day we'll see.
It'll come out in the next
eventually.
5 years.
But I just thought that was cool. Another young woman getting into the Formula One scene as a driver. And, I look forward to hearing how she does in the W Series and the International F3 Championship as well.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be good to see.
And I think that just about does it. We covered a lot of NHL and everything else. There's nothing going on in the NFL. Nobody really cares. I mean, the NW.
Tom Brady.
Nothing.
Moving on.
Drunk again? No. I mean, the NWHL has opened their free agency, and the Toronto Six re-signed their captain. But other than that, that's about it.
Really much.
NASCAR changed their cars.
Ooh.
Gav loves NASCAR.
No, they actually did.
I don't hate NASCAR.
Well, they changed them so that they would be more able to like drive on dirt and turn right. Correct?
Not on dirt, but so basically they have like their road course cars and then they have their oval cars, but now they're just streamlining it to make one car, which makes it harder to drive because it's not the same crap you've been driving for years. The H gear shifter is gone, so it's now a lever. You pull back for shift up, you push forward for shift down. Yeah, it's great.
The frustrating thing for me with NASCAR is that they've become so stuck into like what it used to be that it hasn't really moved forward because they still have carbureted engines. They don't have like all of the I can understand that you don't want to make it Formula One because Formula One is how much technology can you throw at something.
Yeah.
But you at least need to throw a little bit of technology at it.
Which they've done now. I would take a look at the new cars. I think it'll get you excited. I was excited, and I don't even care.
They do actually look pretty awesome.
They look awesome. Sounds awesome. And I think it'll just be better racing because they cut down like a lot of the airflow around the car too. So there's less like jittery crap happening. So you can have closer racing. Which is great. I think just get rid of the restrictor plates. It's so stupid. Like, and you have to all be slow, and it's like,
and maybe also like make sure that drivers don't crash and cause an 18-car pileup every race.
Well, with the best will in the world, when you've got a grid of 40 cars within inches of each other doing 200 mile an hour, when it goes wrong, it's going to go really wrong.
Yeah,
it's exciting though,
and there's no two ways about that.
I mean, it's a bit like saying, watching boats collide is exciting. I mean,
it's pretty exciting. I'd watch that.
Watching it,
I like watching humans collide on ice. So I mean,
yeah, but that's a bit more personal. Anyways.
Yeah, the violence is restricted.
NASCAR will be fun.
Coronavirus in each other's mouths.
I'm sure. All right, we'll see us all again Friday or Saturday. We wish better luck next week to all the losers, specifically
Gavin and the Hartford Whalers. Rest in peace.
No, not Gavin, because he had okay news. But we wish better luck. You know what? We wish better luck next week, specifically to Hockey Canada, because
we're giving specific luck at the moment now.
Yeah, because Hockey Canada released the centralization roster for the women's Olympic team super early, first of all, because they haven't even played the World Championships yet, and they've already released the centralization team. And second of all, it doesn't look like a team that is anywhere near capable of winning a gold medal, certainly less so than in 2018. And I break it down a lot more with a friend of mine, Justin Levine, on another podcast.
You have another podcast?
I don't have another podcast.
Oh my gosh.
I'm on another podcast with the Puck Authority. So if you're interested in that, you can go find that, because
Gav, let's watch it right now while we're on this podcast. Idea.
No, I'm not going to watch his other podcast.
It's not my other podcast. I'm allowed to be on other things.
No, you signed a contract.
All right, well, this is why I'm not
by the way, we all went with the polos today, eh? Like, what's going on?
Professional.
Exactly.
I saw this. I was like, oh, this will be nice.
Yeah.
Next time I'm gonna wear a suit. I think.
Next time I'm gonna
do the suit thing. I hate wearing a suit.
My birthday suit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You've done that before.
I have. Go check out the other podcast video.
Bye.
You have to end the podcast. You can still see the recording thing.